Well, welcome viewers to the series. I'm Dr. J.W. Ayub, theologist since 1994. Muhammad, so near the revelation, so far from the Saviour. Episode 42, when the fear of judgment started consuming the soul. The room no longer merely feels strict now. It feels spiritually airless. And that's what several ordinary followers increasingly begin sensing beneath Muhammad's proclamation. Though few still possess language safe enough to describe it openly. A younger Muslim sits silently during a gathering while respected voices speak about purity, sacrifice, judgment, weakness, and destiny beneath exhausted torchlights. Nobody appears fully peaceful anymore, not even the strongest men. Several faces look hardened publicly while carrying private exhaustion, too deep for ordinary sleep to repair. One speaker warns that hidden impurity inside the movement threatens collective righteousness more severely than enemies outside it ever could. The room absorbs the warning instantly, almost mechanically. That transformation matters enormously, viewers, because ideological systems accelerating toward absolutism eventually stop producing spiritual certainty. They begin producing internal vacuum. And this is where the degeneration deepens, viewers. Not through obvious collapse initially, through chronic insufficiency. Through ordinary men increasingly unable to silence a growing suspicion that no amount of obedience, sacrifice, fearlessness, or ideological devotion can finally remove the condemnation, quietly consuming them from within. One follower privately repeats prayers late into the night, hoping the dread inside his chest and mind will finally loosen. It does not. Another forces visible intensity during gatherings because fear of appearing spiritually weak now feels more dangerous than emotional honesty itself. Yet beneath the proclamation surrounding the movement, both men increasingly suspect the atmosphere is consuming conscience faster than it is restoring peace. Viewers, the structure is changing pathologically now. Fear deepens, shame expands, thought fragments. The movement no longer merely regulates belief, identity, obedience, sacrifice, and fear. It increasingly regulates self-worth, acceptance, spiritual survival, and the right to hope itself. A quieter man notices how quickly emotionally intense personalities now speak as though human beings remain perpetually one failure away from moral exposure and spiritual rejection. Another privately wonders why the atmosphere surrounding righteousness increasingly produces exhaustion instead of reconciliation. Yet, nobody openly says, "You may never become clean enough." Nobody needs to. The atmosphere is already teaching that. And the pressure grows heavier there. Because once condemnation becomes psychologically, spiritually, and physically internalized, ordinary people slowly begin living beneath invisible judgment, impossible to satisfy through human effort alone. Several men now publicly praise sacrifice, while privately terrified they themselves remain spiritually insufficient despite everything they continue surrendering for the proclamation. One speaker warns that longing for emotional peace instead of total devotion reveals dangerous attachment to weakness, still resisting sacred destiny itself. And the room absorbs the warning immediately, quietly, fearfully, hopelessly. One follower now experiences guilt merely for longing privately for mercy stronger than judgment. Another increasingly feels that beneath all the sacrifice, fear, striving, war, violence, and ideological certainty surrounding civilization itself, humanity still remains spiritually unreconciled before God. And perhaps this becomes one of the defining transitions in the trajectory ahead. Ordinary men increasingly stop asking how much more obedience is required and begin silently wondering whether human beings can ever truly heal condemnation through obedience at all. Muhammad's movement no longer merely demands surrender. It increasingly reveals the impossibility of saving the soul through surrender alone. And once ordinary conscience begins recognizing that fear, sacrifice, law, violence, and ideological striving cannot finally reconcile humanity to God, another quieter gravitational longing begins emerging beneath the exhausted, consuming ideological outcomes. Not merely for purity or judgment or submission, but for rescue, mercy, and reconciliation with the Father through the Messiah beyond condemnation itself. I'm Dr. J.W. Ayub, theologist since 1994. Like, share, subscribe, comment to educate me. I'll see you in the next episode, when mercy started feeling more necessary than fear.